Guess what? We have good news. We have, I think, figured out the audio situation so you can get back to having that sweet, sweet audio from the mic. And I did it all by myself. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God, thank you so much. Oh my God, thank you so much. So hi everyone, what's up? What's up? My name is Danny D. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a facilitator helping you own the F out of who you are online and offline. And I do so by teaching on a concept and framework that I created called Iconic Leadership. It is an acronym that stands for integrity, clear communication, ownership, nuance, intention, capacity, and consent. And leading with that at the forefront of your life, your business, your relationships, so you don't accidentally do super harmful shit on the internet or accidentally use cult recruitment tactics in your marketing without knowing. But if you want to learn more about the Iconic Leadership Framework or hear more leadership horror stories, you can go to this link right here and there'll be a whole playlist for you so you can binge listen to it. So Leadership Horror Stories is really a series that I created to bring light to some sketchy situations in the leadership space, whether that's professionally, whether that's in certain industries like the personal development industry, or just in a workspace. So we talk about leadership concepts, we talk about how we can actually be effective leaders, and what is ethical leadership, what's intentional leadership, and what is just control and manipulation. You know, if this is your first time watching a leadership horror story, these are completely and totally anonymous. They have been submitted by you guys to my inbox to have me read and do commentary on them. So I never mention the businesses. I never mention the people directly involved. I might change specific little words and stuff like that to keep it really anonymous. So we are going to start with some sales tactics. Yay! I'm really excited for this because I haven't done one of these in a hot second. Hey friends, it's Danny here. I just want to do a really quick trigger warning for this video. What we do talk about is a public speaking certification gone wrong. There is mention of trauma. We don't go into any of it, but I just wanted to let you know because it's a little bit intense. If you've had a bad experience with a certification of public speaking and this doesn't feel good for you to listen to, maybe go enjoy another one of the other leadership horror stories. So the first one was for a certified public speaking course. I did a free one-day diploma on public speaking with the course provider, and then afterwards we could book an appointment to speak with someone about the group program. We saw a PowerPoint presentation of all the things we would learn, the opportunities that would open up for us, the testimonials, the stories of the people who had taken the course, and the TED Talks, etc. that they'd been called to do. The pandemic had been full on for a few months, and although I was great at standing and presenting in a lecture theater, I was inexperienced and rusty speaking on Zoom. In the sales call, I double-checked that we would be covering Zoom talks, as this was going to be the new norm for a while. I was told, yes, of course. So there's a few weeks from point of sale to start date, and finally, week 1 arrives. The public speaking teacher, who wasn't on the free day or sales calls. So a new person has been introduced that being on the sales calls, being in the free day event and stuff like that, we've never met this person. Okay, so this public speaking teacher holds the Zoom session and we talk about who we are, our goals, and what we want out of this course. In turn, again, a lot of us chat about the online aspect of public speaking, and the teacher agrees and tells us that we're in the right place. Perfect. Week 2 rolls around and it's online only, which we weren't aware of. We just watch mini videos and are set homework. The next week, we're back on Zoom and told next session we're presenting our talks. It can be on anything, but it needs to be dramatic and emotive. And so we are set to study groups in case we want to practice and sent on our way. I'm going to pause there because this is really interesting because this specific thing, it can be on anything, but it has to be dramatic and emotive. So one thing that you may have heard me, if you listen to me a lot, I talk about public speaking, and I talk about public speaking a lot because not only do I speak publicly, but I have a background in voice, like acting and voice and vocal training. And one of the really interesting things that I noticed on TED Talks and I noticed on like specific voice things and specific public speaking things, that in order to make it feel like the talk is very compelling, what they'll do is they will teach people to speak in a very specific way to evoke emotion from the audience. With people's voice and the way that they articulate things and the pitch and the power and the pause of their voice, there's a very specific journey that is taught through these channels. Watch a bunch of talks, you'll notice that a lot of them have the same journey. Unless you have someone who maybe is a seasoned public speaker but didn't go through like vocal training specifically, and they have a lot more life to them. And so when I teach public speaking, or if I help people through public speaking, I never force them to articulate in certain ways, because number one, I think that can be seen as manipulation for the audience, right? Like you're realistically like trying to over dramatize or sensationalize something, instead of just letting the content and your words and your humanity speak for itself. And then another thing is a lot of vocal coaches and stuff like that, they'll like train the human things out of you, which I don't agree with, which is the ums, the likes, the pauses, the thought process moments. And I like to keep that stuff in. I think when I go speak, I like to just be a human on the stage and connect to the audience. Now, when people maybe watch the replay of it or something like that, or the video of it, it might not hit those powerful notes, but it's human. The online modules talk us through pauses and, oh, did I not just say pauses and pitches and all that stuff? And it's more about presence, my friends, than it is about pitching and pausing. Online modules talk us through pauses and owning the stage. Pretty irrelevant stuff on Zoom, but we all prepare a 5-minute speech, and next week we're up. The talks start in alphabetical order. Talk after talk on people's deepest, darkest moments. I'm going to pause here, okay? One of the things that we're also taught in marketing in general and specific industries that have public speaking is to find your lowest moment and find your hero story and then utilize that story to sell yourself. Now, it makes sense that you want to use context from your life to share your story, or that stories can be really motivational and inspiring, and that your story can be really motivational and inspiring. But teaching people to monetize or exploit their trauma in order to get people to buy, or in order to get people to hire them on stage, I just don't stand by that. But I was taught that. That doesn't feel good to me. Does it feel good to you? I don't know. And that's like a lot of like emotional manipulation, or it can trigger an audience. Like, it's just, there's a time and a place, and there is a way that you share what's performative and what's real, you know? Talk after talk on people's deepest, darkest moments. Homelessness, grief, loss of a family member, partner, violence, domestic violence, physical abuse, traumatized childhood. By the 5th bad presentation, I can't watch or listen anymore. I'm crying. I'm triggered by all the horrific memories that have been rekindled or explained to me. And the teacher gives no comment on the topic discussed, just the correct use of pauses, breaks, hand gestures, and facial expressions. This is what I was talking to you guys about. No. You are so much more valuable than the way that your hands flutter about on stage. You are so much more valuable than the pitches and the powers and the pauses. And you're so much more valuable than the correct facial expressions to use. That's like such performative stuff. I'm very biased on this stuff. And it also leaves a lot of people out. So let's talk about the nuances of this. They are explaining and sharing really deep, dark things in the context of being trained for public speaking in this group where you don't know everyone's lived experience. So where is the support for people who may be traumatized by this or re-triggered by this? Is there an additional resource to help support the people who may be re-triggered by these stories and sharing this stuff? Like, where is the support for that? And that's why I don't believe in exploiting the deep, dark traumas in order to be seen as credible or valuable in a public speaking stage. Like, this is why so many people who are not English speaking as their first language, or who have a reading disability, or who have different ways of speaking, or different languages that they speak that influence their voice, like accents and stuff like this. A lot of people come to me and they'll be like, I don't feel comfortable on stage, because people are teaching them to get rid of all of that, and to get rid of all of that to be seen as valuable. And not only is that coming from a lot of like colonized, like white supremacy ideas of what it looks like to be an expert, which is just super messed up, but it like rips away people's nuances of their own human experience, or how they speak, or the natural parts of how they talk to be seen as valuable. I feel like that's backwards. I just feel like it's backwards, and it leaves out so many people who have such unique experiences, who have a right to be on a stage and sharing their voice. And it gives no support to the people who are attending it either. So we just need to like rethink all this stuff, right? I looked around the Zoom room. People look numb, sad, distressed, traumatized. There's a dog barking. That wasn't in the story. That's just in my life. It's my turn. I give my talk about hitting rock bottom and finding my purpose and drive and desire for life again. I'm told by my teacher it was excellent, but then I leave to preserve what's left of my mental stability. Yeah, I bet. Then we yo-yo a few more weeks between hearing the teacher talk about what great classical singer he is and showing us operas and theaters he's been from YouTube, and standing in his office with head and legs cut off so we could just see his torso, demonstrating stage stances. Again, far removed or appropriate for online Zoom talks. Alternate weeks, we still learn about cue cards and remembering from the online modules. But then it comes to the final week. People start their talks. Again, arguably, still no more prepared than at the start, as the teacher just mostly spoke about how good he is and ran us through his CV. Yikes. When asking about TED Talks or public speaking opportunities, he said he can't help with this. He's just a singer and doesn't know the answer. I have a lot of thoughts and beliefs and feelings. Okay, one thing I will say, good on the teacher for saying that that's out of their scope. Now, what should have been told at the start for people to have informed consent when they sign up. Now, if you haven't heard me talk about informed consent in marketing, this is 100% what it is. It's, do people have the information to say yes to the opportunity, and is what's being delivered what they said yes to? So when it comes to that, when asking about TED Talks or public speaking opportunities or anything like that, it should be laid out from the beginning that your instructor is classically trained in singing. Because I'm classically trained in acting and stuff like that, but I've never done a TED Talk. It's on my bucket list, but I've never done a TED Talk. So if I'm talking about public speaking, I would talk more about like from being on the stage or whatever, right? And if you were coming to my event, I would tell you, I'm not going to teach you how to stand perfectly on stage or articulate perfectly or do perfect pauses or pitch or not stumble over your words, right? I'm going to teach you how to be human and really just like be able to be witness for who you are. Now, having said that, like I said, I give props to this guy for being honest that he doesn't know, he's not qualified to speak on those things, but also was it laid out at the very beginning? Now, from this story, it kind of sounds like there was a free day thing that was offered through this company, and then there was a sales conversation of sorts, if I am remembering that correct. And then the sales conversation and that first day, like the instructor wasn't involved in that. But then those people should have said if they just maybe get whatever instructor is available, like that's an important thing to talk about, right? Or to be honest about. I managed 3 speeches this time before I leave. Too much childhood abuse and domestic violence, as well as detailed descriptions of their mother's last breath for me. Oh, that's so sad. I'm done. I'm a mess. I end up curled in a ball with my partner hugging me, sobbing most of the evening, feeling unsafe, ill-prepared for what was said to me, and triggered. Yeah, 100% I bet. I messaged the team, no reply. I tell them I couldn't do my final speech to get my certification, so what do I need to do? No reply. I find the details for the CEO of the company. I emailed him. He doesn't seem to care much. Oh. I tell him how much the space was unregulated, unprofessional, and offered no boundaries or safety. Yeah. That it was free for all for people to share their deepest, darkest traumas with no professional on hand to help, assist, or offer support to the spectators or speakers. Yeah. I tell him the lack of a title, a topic, subject, or the warning this content is blank is damaging and harmful and would rarely happen in a public speaking environment where you just stand up and start talking about something, but no one even knows what about. He replies to offer me the chance to sit one-on-one with the most damaging public speaker on the team for free. Oh no. I decline and say the course wasn't as advertised. Yeah, 100% it was not. And that I would like to be refunded in some way. I was paying in installments and still had over half to pay anyways. I get a violent, angry reply threatening me with court action if I stop payment. What? Make any further complaints, speak to any other course participants about my experience, or basically talk to anyone about the course / what happened. So what started out as a nice public speaking course ended up being trauma on top of threats and more trauma. No certificate. And other than what not to do, nothing learned. This was one of the first investments I made into my business and myself. And then, of course, I consent to you using this anonymously. So sometimes when we move through experiences like that, we can feel like it was our fault that we just didn't know better, or we could feel guilty or wrong or bad for falling for these tricks. And I want you to know, if you're listening to this and you've been through those experiences, number one, you're not alone, is why I share these anonymously. You're not alone. Number two, these things happen, very curated, articulated in a very certain way to get you into the buying space, to get you to buy, and then to get you to show up and attend these things. And then even the fact that there's no regulation, there's no trauma-informed care, there's no resources for trauma responsiveness even. There's no, there's nothing. There's just, you're thrown to the wolves. And for someone who has a degree in acting, that is a lot of acting school is like that, which is why I don't do that stuff. I don't teach that stuff. I don't believe in that stuff. And the idea that you need to be broken down in order to be built back brilliantly or whatever, don't buy it. You don't need to be broken down. You are good. It's not your fault. You didn't fall for these things because you are incapable or something. These things were manipulation. These things were oftentimes coercion or ways to slowly get you to buy in. Even when we talk about cult psychology, and if you ever listen to Leah Remini or even Stephen Hayson talk about cults and Scientology and stuff like that, it's no one wakes up and they're like, I would like to join a cult today. People are indoctrinated into it. And similarly to that, one of the reasons why I talk a lot about consent, transparency, marketing, and all that stuff is to prevent these things from happening. Because if we are transparent, if we are open, a lot of these things can't hide behind closed doors. And yeah, big yikes. Man, if something like that has happened to you, I'm so sorry. I'm going to put a trigger warning at the beginning of this video too, just because I think it's important. This is heavy and I think it's important to share it. And I do talk about some funny things that happen and stuff like that, but this is important to share. It shouldn't be such a common story that it is. It's very common that this stuff happens. And yeah. So anyways, I'm sending you guys massive love. So what I'm going to leave you with right now is, don't be afraid to ask questions before you buy things. People will maybe think that you're difficult asking questions and stuff like that, but a lot of people hide the truth of their programs behind good marketing, great leadership that is actually manipulation. So ask questions, and also don't be afraid to let people earn your trust. Anyways, I'm sending you a world of love. Kick-ass names, change the world. You're freaking fabulous. Stop being so secretive about it. And I will catch you in the next video. Yay! Okay, bye guys. Hey friends, it's Danny here. I just want to do a really quick trigger warning for this video. What we do talk about is a public speaking certification gone wrong. There is mention of trauma. We don't go into any of it, but I just wanted to let you know that if you've had a bad experience with a certification of public speaking and this doesn't feel good for you to listen to, maybe go enjoy another one of the other leadership horror stories. Heads up before we get into the video, because it's a little bit intense.